No, it's actually amazing to me even how fast our time is flying by.
I know, we're getting
But I want to make sure that we cover some of the do's and don'ts that we talked about paying your bills and about budgeting, because I really look at the review of statements and paying your bills as a real money-making opportunity, partly because as soon as you start to feel more empowered around your money, you feel more wealthy. It's kind of like initial easier step. But let's start with talking about maybe the 5 don'ts of what people shouldn't do, and then we'll talk about the 5 do's that we came up with.
Yeah, the 5 don'ts are really what not to do when money's tight. I frequently talk to people who say, well, I just don't have enough money to pay my bills. There's something, what can I do or what shouldn't I do? And you might need to remind me on some of these things, but the first thing that I have, when I do my presentations, I have a big picture of an ostrich with his head in the sand, and I bring that up and I say, don't bury your head in the sand. And it's funny because when I show it to teens, they say, oh, he's trying to eat. And I say, no, he's hiding. Well, he's hiding from what? I go, he's putting his head in the sand to hide. Like, I have to explain the whole concept of an ostrich with the head in the sand, which I thought everybody knew, but they don't. And they said, well, he's not hiding. You can see his whole body. That's silly for him to do that. I go, it's the same thing we do when all the bills come flooding in, and we know we don't have the money to pay them. So what do? We go shopping. We leave
retail therapy kicks in. Yeah.
We leave all the bills on the counter. We don't even open them, and then we go to the mall to relax, or we go eat a pint of ice cream or something like that. The don't number 1 is definitely don't bury your head in the sand. It's amazing. Like, I just helped a young woman who had a $200 Target bill or something, and she said she didn't open her mail for 4 months, and now the bill's $840. And she said, like, gosh, if I would have opened this 4 months ago, I would now look how big it's gotten. That's the first don't. Number 2 is
number 2 is don't personalize it.
Oh my goodness, especially with phone calls, bill collectors. I always tell people paying bills is just math. Okay, here's how much you have and here's how much you have to spend. It's just math, but we personalize it so much, and we think this is some kind of affront to our, like it's a statement about who we are. Like, if I have bills and I'm in debt, this must mean I'm a bad person or something like that. You can't, and you definitely can't personalize it when you're talking to bill collectors on the phone. I always tell people, if a bill collector calls, the first thing you should say is, hi, thank you so much for calling, with a big friendly voice.
You'll totally throw them off.
Totally throws them off, and then they're so happy to talk to you. I mean, seriously, they love it when people are nice to them, because they rarely get that.
Right.
So that's what I mean about don't personalize it.
That's great. That's great. I'm going to kind of breeze through them, and then we'll keep going. So 3 was don't ignore someone you owe, which you just started to touch on a little bit too. And the one of the key notes of these is that it's actually 100% of the time, because sometimes I find that clients will come and they'll say, well, I have 6 credit cards, and I'll be like, great, are they all paid up? And they'll be like, well, yeah, they're mostly paid up. I'm like, no, mostly paid up doesn't count, because the one that's not paid up for a month will then cause you problems on all the other accounts. So when we say don't ignore,
yeah, you don't ignore any of them.
100%.
And you do find some people that will pay, well, I'll just pay this one bill till it's paid off and ignore the other 5, and then I'll pay that. No, you can't do that. You have to pay something to all of them. Yes.
Right. And then number 4, don't avoid the math.
Yeah, don't avoid the math. It's amazing how we try to pay our bills, but we've never sat down to do the math. I mean, seriously, I'm going to meet with a woman tomorrow who's never sat down to do the math of, like, well, how much do I owe in each one and how much do I have? They just say, well, oh, I'm just so stressed, there's all these bills, and maybe I can just deal with the one that's calling me the most, or the one that's bothering me the most, or that kind of thing. No, sit down and do the math. You might find it's not so scary.
Absolutely. And the number 5, the don't, is don't commit to something you can't do.
Don't, when they call you and they say, can you send me $100? Yes, don't say I'll send you $100 and not do it. If you can't do anything, a great line is, I don't have any money right now, I can't send you anything, but can you call me in a week and I'll be able to give you more information then. Then take control of the call and tell them, call me in a week. Some of them will. They'll put in their computer, don't call them in a week. Now you won't get any phone calls for the next week, and then during that time, take out the time to do some math. But don't ever say, I will pay you, and just to get them off the phone. It doesn't work, and it just makes things worse. So those are the don'ts that I have.
Right. Those are the don'ts, because we know they'll keep calling.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't get any better.
No,
it doesn't. Next time that they call. Yes. Now the do's, and feel free to chime in here if you have any others that you found work for you too.
Okay.
The do's, the first one is keep track of your spending.
Oh, it's amazing how many people I meet who say
basic way to start.
Yes, and who say that if I want to know how much money's in my checking account, I just call the bank. I'm like, no, because there's a lot of things that might not have cleared. There's all things that keep track yourself is the best way to know what's going on. Don't just trust a bank or things like that. It makes a big difference. I'm going quickly now because I'm thinking time's running out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing how.
I found in the money class that Jamil led, one of the things that almost all of the women weren't doing that could sabotage someone's finances would be they weren't writing, if they used their debit card, They were not writing down the receipts in their checking account.
Yeah. And so they were just
so
charging,
I have a
charging,
system
charging.
of putting my debit card, if I do use it, to buy something, let's say food at Trader Joe's. Then I take my debit card out of my wallet and put it in the zipper change part and match it with the receipt. And then when I go home, I write it down in my checking book, every single one of them. And then on the receipt, I put Citizens, recorded in Citizens checking account.
I think what you're highlighting too is creating a system, and then we're going to talk about that as being one of the do's too. But to keep track of it, and also make sure you're keeping track of the cash and anything that's getting paid automatically, and anything that's getting paid through credit cards, which takes us to number 2, which is read your bills and credit card statements.
And just like what you were saying about your credit card statement, you read it and saw that they raised your interest rate without even knowing. So reading those statements makes a big difference. It's
reading
huge.
the statements, and I find sometimes that you may be getting charged for things that you're not actually getting value for.
That actually happens. Oh, that you're not actually.
That you're not getting value for because it's not meaningful to you. So I found I do a lot of practice what I preach. It sounds like both of you do too, which is great. And so I reviewed my bills at one point with Comcast when I was first. This was a little while ago, and I was paying for all of these channels, and I couldn't even find them on my remote, let alone use them.
So you're paying for all this extra stuff.
I was paying for stuff, and I called up and I said, well, what's the basic that I need to be able to watch A, B, and C that I watch? And they told me, and so I saved, I think it was like $35 every month, just making that one change.
Yeah, that's
great. Easily. So, okay, that was number 2. 3 is do the math to figure out your expenses.
Yes.
And that's about summarizing where the money is going and looking at both sides of the equation, right? What you make versus what you spend to get your net. Number 4, when money's tight, open the mail and still call back the debt collectors.
Oh my gosh, and that people who, like I said, they just don't even look at the mail, don't even look at it, and it's amazing now, especially the way credit card companies are treating people. They're just tacking on the interest and the payments and really increasing bills to, I think, unfair amounts just for being late. I mean, I know we're late and everything, but to go from a $200 to an $800 bill just because you haven't responded in 6 months, which is bad, those are the kinds of things that will happen from not opening your mail. I had a gentleman, I told him just to go home and open his mail, and he's like, he called me and he goes, this is great. All these bills aren't due today. I didn't know that. That's why I didn't open them, because I thought they were all due today. I can pay, I have a month on some of these. He was just so surprised about the due dates. And that's
the due dates can go either way. They can be 3 weeks out, or all of a sudden you can look at it and be like, oh my God, I didn't open this for a week and it's due on Wednesday.
But he was avoiding all his bills because he thought they were all due that day. And so he said it was so much more relieving just to look at it and make a list of what the date they were due because he had time. And I was like, yes, John. Anyway, just next time, open your mail.
On number 5, actually, it's a great segue before I wrap up. It's on making it a habit. So making this budgeting process a habit, whether you have a system like what you spoke about, or if I even have some of my clients carry a little notebook in their pocket. Just pull it out, write down what you just spent that cash on or what you just bought. And making a habit of taking a set time every week.
I talk about that in my class.
Either every day or every week, whatever you feel like your finances need. But you know at that time that you're going to handle it. And make it fun. Play your favorite song while you're doing it,
Or do it, if you're a morning person, do it in the morning. If you're a night person, do it at night. I always talk about, it's amazing, one of the most important things in paying your bills is time. A lot of people think it's money. I say, no, it's time. I allocate 15 minutes a day to go through and open my mail, make sure my bills
all
are.
You need. Keep it current.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for both of you being here. We have Karen Bowen and we have Jamil Webb Davis.
Yeah.
I'm like so excited. I have trouble getting it out because I really feel like the difference, and you founded Start Money Smart, and I feel like what we've done today is just really give people a chance to be like, you know what? They can have fun budgeting. Maybe I can have fun keeping track of my expenses and do it too.
And it can make a huge difference. It really can.
It can.
We've both seen it happen.
You've both seen it. I see it literally every day. I see how budgeting and keeping track makes a difference and empowers us around our finances. So today we started this conversation on budgeting and saving. Stay tuned for more strategies, tips, and tools on saving, managing your debt and your credit cards, saving for a house, planning for your retirement, and much more, even with the roller coaster of our financial markets. You will learn tips you can use immediately. If you'd like to share your ideas and saving tips about the money on your mind, contact us at moneytv@ownyourmoney.com. Thank you for joining us today. I am Belinda Fuchs, wealth coach, CPA, and founder of ownyourmoney.com and host of Money on Your Mind. We look forward to bringing you more unique and interesting ways of making more, saving more, and stressing less about the money on your mind.